What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about Litecoin today, LTC USD. Hit that like button, subscribe if you want to see more content like this, and let's get into it, my friends. It is the 12th day of October today, and here we are with about 2 hours, 51 minutes left in the day, sitting at right at about $100. Perfect area to find some resistance, right? We're coming back up from under 100, so you might find some turbulence here. Prior areas of support, and prior support back here as well. Somewhat of a significant area. I want to look at this in the short term, just at like the 1 hour, the 4 hour time frame, and then I want to zoom out and tell you guys where I think this thing's going overall. Hint, hint. I very, very strongly believe Litecoin is going to see new all-time highs this year. Absolutely, or not. Well, this year, yes, this year, but also by the end of this cycle, we should be worth, I'm thinking, thousands of dollars. It's going to be absolutely immaculate. We'll get into that at the end of the video. I just want to go over some of the short-term stuff right now to see what can we expect over the coming days. What are we expecting over the coming weeks? So looking at the 1 hour time frame, yes, you are finding resistance right here where you found resistance before, right there, right? Let's look at you on Coinbase, just because you have some volume on you there. Good, good. We're getting some volume coming in. Not a whole lot of volume to persist with this, but that's okay. You might come down, find a higher low. That'd be my expectation. At this point in time, not financial advice, not a financial advisor, but I think it's possible this is the low here, right? This is your scam wick. This is the fat low that you had there. I think that the real low might be this one here. Let's see. Let's actually look at the indicators here. RSI showing bullish divergence. Yes. Getting into zones of strength here, which is nice to see. You are rejecting it as of now, and I think that you will come out rejecting this overall because that's a pretty bearish candle there. But what I would anticipate is that you'll probably find support between now and the end of tomorrow, Monday. And then perhaps Monday, early in the day, middle of the day, probably in the later part of the day, you'll start to rally. And I would not be surprised at all if we close tomorrow at prices above $100. Now, I might be wrong, but the MACD here is just getting started above the zero, so I think that implies further things to come in the hours ahead. Stochastics look bullish, and while the RSI does suggest a rejection right here, all that means is that you might move down to about $97, maybe I would say $94.50 to $93.60 at the most. If you do get below $91 or let's say $91.50, if you get below there, it's very likely that we do progress lower, and at which, in which case, if we do go below this low, the expectation would be about $87 to $83. This would be the lowest I could see you going. I very much doubt that you go lower than that. I do not believe that Litecoin goes below this low. That was obviously the low, but I don't think that we go below that low at all. Probably nowhere near it. My guess would be at the absolute lowest that we could see would be about $87 to $83 there. But I genuinely am anticipating a bounce either at the $97 level, literally expecting a bounce either right there at $97 or somewhere between $94.50 and $93, somewhere in that zone there, which is also pretty probable. So it just depends. It depends on what time we bounce, right? Maybe there's some good news coming out at the early hours of tomorrow, which is technically, if you're in America, it'd be the late hours of today, right? The first 6 hours of a new day are technically still in the old day. Does that make sense? Like right now, it's the 12th. It'll still be the 12th for me and anybody in America for a good bit, for a few hours. Even whenever we get to the 13th here, right? The 13th starts at 3 o'clock Eastern or something like that, I want to say. I don't know. Or no, I'm sorry. It'd be 7 o'clock Eastern. It's 5 o'clock Mountain Time. That's all I know. It'd be 3 o'clock Pacific Time. Anyways, $100 here, $100 right now, getting caught up in the semantics. Definitely expecting you to drop down around $97 to $93. Okay, that's the expectation. I have hopes for $97 to hold, but again, if not, then there. And at the worst case scenario, $87 to $83 would be the worst case scenario there. But looking at the MACD, I just don't see it happening. I think you've got some signs right here that you are ready to move higher, right? Less volume on this way down. You panic sold, right? The people who sold here, right? The people who sold here, let me delete all this stuff. They're the people who wanted to sell here, but they're paralyzed by fear. And then they had some relief, and they're like, oh my God, I could have sold at 114. Now it's down here at 90. It's definitely going back down. It's going to do it all over again. No, none of that's going to happen. Not financial advice, not a financial advisor, but all the people who sold here, they're probably not going to be given a chance to buy back. They're probably not going to be given a chance. Right now, we're at moments where mistakes are made, in which case, you might think that you're safe or that you have a chance if you wait for the prices to come back, but I don't think that's what's going to happen. I think that we are going to continue to rally. With that being said, again, of course, I do expect a minimal pullback of about $97. I wouldn't think that we go too much past that, but 93 at the lowest is what I would give again. Looking at the 4 hour time frame, zooming out a little bit here. Just finding resistance there, some turbulence there. Trying to see if there's anything to find. I mean, maybe we can try this. Let's try this. Low and then high. All the way down to your 1886 area. A lot of cryptos hit that area, actually. The 1272 is holding a support. This is nice. Get above $112 and you validate my thoughts that this is the low. Okay. There's a bunch of other ways that you could validate it, but price action is the most, right? Prominent. $112 is the golden ratio. You get above there on a daily closing basis or 2 4-hour closing candles in a row. Undoubtedly, this is the low. So you're at $100 now. All you got to do is move up $11, man. You got $101, just move up to 112. Close above there for 2 4-hour candles in a row or a daily candle. Looking at our RSI, you have had a bit of a downtrend, right? With one massive blemish in the middle. But other than that blemish, it kind of just looks like you're in a nice parallel channel, right? You see the lower, just like here you had a uptrend, now you have a downtrend. I think that you're coming to the end of that downtrend. Again, the possibility that you do come back down is there, in which case you'd find a higher low, you had a lower low in your RSI. You could see prices that are still, below about $93, but I don't expect that to happen personally. It's possible, but in which case you'd have bullish divergence and you'd quickly, rapidly turn around. I want to make it clear, I'm not expecting that you go below this low, but if you do, in the event that you do, it'll be so insignificant as far as time goes, and you're just going to rapidly turn around. You're in a good posturing to turn around here. Your stochastics look like they want to continue higher. Being on the 4-hour time frame, this would imply days worth of growth, at least like into Tuesday, if not Wednesday, that you'd be moving up. So again, I'm talking about tomorrow, Monday. By the end of the day, I wouldn't be surprised if you're back up above like $112, $115. MACD is about to cross here as well. That's also a positive thing on the 4-hour time frame. Daily time frame, zooming out a little bit, the MACD is ugly, but it's not really relevant. Every time you've crossed up, it hasn't been a big deal. Every time you've crossed down, it hasn't been a big deal. So, I mean, this is a big deal of a move, but it's probably not a big deal. The RSI is bouncing right off the oversold zone. You do have higher lows, and with that, you have lower lows here. That is bullish divergence. The stochastics look to be bouncing here, which is pretty impressive. Overall, it's almost like, again, you've got this kind of channel upwards, right? Like higher lows here, higher highs maybe, and you've got this little blemish here. But you're right at an area where you might expect to bounce. Let's just see how often we do bounce here. 2 hours, 44 minutes left. One has to imagine that we're going to get a positive bounce right there. You bounced there before. You found resistance there before. You bounced right above it right there. Yeah, so you've shown some respect to this area before. Bounced right there, a little bit lower. Bounced right there. Yeah, you've shown respect to this. So I think that this could be something, especially with the wackadoo price action we had 2 days ago. It's definitely something we could do. Weekly time frame. I just want to make sure I covered everything. I think I did. Weekly time frame here. Now we're getting to the exciting stuff where, I mean, we can look at the RSI and the indicators here. The RSI does look positive overall, right? You can tell because overall getting overbought, overall getting higher lows, right? Not getting oversold at all, really. Living most of your time, it seems, above the 50, not below the 50. Overall positive RSI. So again, listen to what I just said. Living most of your time above the 50 and not below. We're below the 50 right now. So most of the time we're above the 50. This is that insignificant amount of time that we are below it, right? And when I say insignificant, I'm saying that with a purpose. We're going to be moving up higher soon. Maybe next week is red. I doubt it. Maybe the following week, maybe the following 2 weeks are red. I doubt it. But then we're going to recover. It's a short amount of time before we start to recover. And once we do, I would expect we get into the overbought zone. That's when we see every single one of these peaks has come in once we hit the overbought zone. And we haven't seen a move up like that in a little while. I think we're overdue. Stochastics, right at an area to bounce as well. You bounced right here. Right at the 50. I don't need to put a line there. There's a dash line there. Rejected there. Supported there. Turbulent here. Support all throughout there. This is a perfect area to find support. And the MACD, while it has crossed red, and it is Sunday, it is the end of the week. We got 2 hours, 42 minutes left in this week as well. I would count this as an insignificant cross. Kind of like this one here, right? Where you crossed, it was insignificant, and you came up. Or here, you're going down, you crossed insignificant to the upside, and then you still went lower. I would think it's like the same thing. It's just a little fart is what it is. It's if anything, it's a more bullish thing. Look, you did it right here, right? You can't really see it. Let me zoom it in. Right there, it's red, but you see you continue to grow. Let's look right here. Right here, it flipped red, and you're at a higher low, and then you moved up higher. Right? You were stagnant for like another week, and then you kind of figure yourself out. But like 3 weeks later, that's when you really got your pump on, and it only got stronger from there. So maybe not next week, maybe not the week after. Are you pumping through the freaking stratosphere? But in the weeks to come, it's going to happen. Absolutely. I would very much expect that it is. And it might be as early as next week, by the way. Not financial advice, not a financial advisor. Here at $100, don't expect Litecoin to stay this cheap for long. And that whenever it does break out, whenever you do get above this $140 area here, $135 area, whatever this area of resistance is right here, when you get above that, you're really going to take off. The Litecoin crowd, you guys have been very patient. It reminds me of XRP because everybody dunks on Litecoin now, right? All the hate from XRP got dunked onto Litecoin because, oh, you didn't get higher highs last cycle, ho ho. But you still have higher lows, bear market after bear market, right? You're still accumulating overall. And I think that once we move up here from $100 to like $150, that's going to feel nice. It's going to be very validating and exciting to get a new high relative to this cycle. But it's going to be bigger than anything we've seen this cycle. I'm very, very convinced that this next move, and that is also probably a large reason why we saw this shakeout. I think this next move is going to be spectacular, and they don't want people involved. They don't want the average person making money right now. They want to make the money, so they cleared you out of your position so that they could get more of it. That's what this is, a shakeout right before the massive pump, right? Look at this. Look at COVID, right? Does it ring any bells? Did we pump immediately afterwards? No. We moved sideways. By the way, COVID, people are saying this is comparable to COVID. High to low for COVID's drop. That was a 70% drop. This, granted, this was all in like one day basically, but 47%, it's not even close. Not even close at all, no. No. Not even close, guys. Let me put it in a different perspective for you, right? If we took the low here and we pulled it down, hold on. Right, 70%, that means from our lowest point of that drop, you'd have had another 40% to go. We were nowhere close. We were literally nowhere close at all. It'd be like double this drop technically to get down there. I forget what I was going with this, but you see the consolidation that took place afterwards. I don't think that it'll be months that we're doing this, right? This was from March until October that we started to rally. I don't think it'll be months, but I do think it'll be weeks. We've really, if you're looking at this here, we've already been moving sideways for so long. Where here you were in a downtrend, final shakeout, final flush out. Here we are in a downtrend. I would compare it more to this here, where we consolidated for a little bit and then we started to rally. I think that we might consolidate for a few weeks. Perhaps by the end of October, we're still not at new all-time highs, but I really wouldn't be surprised if it was the last week of October or the first week of November that we started to explore new highs relative to this cycle. And then again, with that, that'll be exciting, but the perspective is going to shift. Litecoin's going to be looking to see new highs, new all-time highs, or at least breaking out of this cycle's accumulative zone here. I'm probably going to end the video soon. We're doing some work in the house. But I do believe that once we break out, we're probably going to rally all the way up to about $400 and beyond. That's my expectation. Absolutely. I think Litecoin will see new all-time highs, undoubtedly so. If we look at this from a high, all-time high perspective to the low of the 2018 bear cycle, that'd be about a $934 to a $2,500 target is our first stop. I think at a minimum by the end of this cycle, we'll see a $2,500 price. This, I think, will be at about $1,000 by the end of the year. And then going into the end of the cycle, going into Q2 of 2026, I think we'll see a $5,000 to, I mean, who knows, man? It could be crazy. It could be really crazy stuff. Yes, $17,000 price. But I'm thinking we'll stop somewhere around like $5,000 to $8,000 personally, maybe right there at $6,000. That's my expectation. We overlay last cycle's high, last bull market's high. Come on now, if we can get it. Oh, that was so close. I almost had it. The high to the low. Let's get it there. Let's see. That'd be about, yeah, something just above 4,000. 5,600 really might make sense. A lot lines up at this $2,500 area as well. I like that as a good minimum. I want to see what happens whenever when we break out of this, whether it's the end of October or sometime in November. I want to see how high this takes us. And again, I've said it before, I've been under the impression for a while that we go to $300 to $400, but I'm somewhat under the impression that we might just go to that next step higher. Maybe we see $500, maybe we see $900. We just rip all the way up there, then we consolidate, and then we're moving up to higher prices going into 2026. But I got nothing else for you guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, hit the like button, subscribe if you want to see more content like this. Mark my words, we're going to see Litecoin at new all-time highs before you know it, certainly by the end of this year, and I would not be surprised if it was by the end of November. Take care. I'll see you on the next one. All right. Bye-bye.